Trump's policies have been so bad and so damaging for the economy that even his own voters in red states are having to sue him to get him to stop. The latest group to enjoin themselves in a lawsuit, or at least attempt to, is the Montana Farmers Union. Montana, by the way, is in fact a red state, and farmers overwhelmingly as a demographic voted for Donald Trump. And now those same people, red voters in a red state who helped put this guy in power, have been so screwed by the policies of the man they picked that they're now having to sue him to put an end to the trade war. But here's the thing. This lawsuit that the Montana Farmers Union has or is attempting to enjoin was not originally filed by them. In fact, the original lawsuit was filed by the Blackfeet Nation in the state of Montana for Trump's trade policies that are in violation, they claim in the suit, of the native treaties that they have had in place since the 1700s. And of course, they argue that no, you do not have the administrative authority to put these tariffs in place, but more importantly, we're also exempted from all of this due to the treaties that have been in place for over 200 almost 250 years. So here's what the Blackfeet Nation lawsuit says. The suit claims the tariffs violate a 1794 treaty exempting the tribes along the United States-Canadian border from being taxed or levied on goods between the nation. It also challenges the Trump administration's ability to use emergency powers to bypass Congress to impose tariffs. Now, the suit that the Montana Farmers Union has filed in conjunction with this, attempting to enjoin themselves into this lawsuit, says this. Because of the president's tariffs, their goods, talking about the farmers, will be more expensive to export, which will result in reduced profits and lost customers. Even worse, farms and ranches that have been in families for generations must be sold simply because the president's isolationist and unlawful approach is, incongruous with the international market with which these farmers and ranchers have been dealing and relying upon for decades. Montana Farmer Union members do not have robust markets in the United States for the crops they grow, and those markets cannot be developed overnight. In other words, this is our biggest trading partner. They're buying $839 million worth of goods from us each year. $839 million. And now that entire industry that is propping up a good portion of Montana farmers, poof, gone. And you think, oh, we could just sell this to people in the United States instead that already weren't buying all of it? That's not going to happen. So the Blackfeet Nation absolutely has a strong, solid, valid legal argument. The Montana Farmers Union has a strong, valid legal argument. So hopefully these lawsuits, if they're not enjoined, will just be filed separately, right? I mean, they could still do that if the judge says, no, you cannot join into this lawsuit, which is fine. Okay, we'll just file it on our own. You still have a very great legal argument. But here's the thing. A fourth-generation farmer from Liberty County in Montana, John Wicks, had this to say. Our Canadian partners either won't buy our crops or are offering significantly lower prices than our partners in the United States. Our partners in the United States know that our Canadian partners are doing this and are capitalizing on it by offering lower prices, so we're getting squeezed. So it's not just that they're not able to sell it to Canada, because they still can, but Canada's saying, you know what, we've got to pay the import tax on these now, so we're going to offer you a lower price. And then the people in the United States who are buying it too say, oh, well, they're only paying this. You know what? We're only going to pay that. So these farmers are getting screwed, and it is not fair. But as usual, I'm going to point something out. They may not like it, but it's the God's honest truth. Y'all voted for this. He wasn't secretive about it. The tariffs aren't something that just popped up after he won the election. He literally campaigned on it. Everybody warned you. You have to take ownership of your actions. It's great that you filed this lawsuit, and I hope you win. But at the same time, I also hope you learn. Because that's the biggest part of it. Stop making these same mistakes. Stop voting for people that literally tell you, I'm going to destroy you. You have to take that lesson and go forward in life. Understand that, yeah, you made the wrong choice. You backed a guy that basically said, I will destroy your industry with these tariffs. Don't do that again. Because if you do, I mean, hell, you know what? You already did it again because he did the same thing during his first term. Look, I want to have sympathy. I genuinely do. But each and every day, it's getting harder to do that. Because Trump is doing exactly what he said he was going to do. These are not surprises. These are not things he just concocted. He campaigned on this crap. So learn your lesson and don't make this mistake again. Thanks for watching today, everybody. And don't forget, if you're not already, please do subscribe to this channel. We have fresh content going up every single day, and I would really hate for you to miss out on that. And speaking of missing out, if you're not following me across all other social media outlets, then get on it. You can follow the links in the description of this video.